My name is Andrew Antonio. I'm the president of the student government at Washington College, and I currently reside in Chestertown, Maryland, but I am a resident of Middletown, Delaware, born and raised. Believe it or not, I had a brother that went to Washington College, graduated in 2004. He was 8 years older than me. So growing up as a little kid, I was always aware of Washington College, and you know, I'd spent a lot of time here as a young child, and I kind of grew to be comfortable with it and to love it. And to be honest with you, it wasn't actually on my map going into high school as a school that I would attend. And then it came down to crunch time, junior, senior year. You decide where you're going to go to school. Do I want a big school? Do I want a small school? And I spent a lot of time talking to members of my family to decide where I wanted to go. And that brother in particular, his name was Vinny, gave me a lot of good advice about this school. He told me, you're going to thrive here. You know that if you go to a small school with a community like this, you can be a big fish in a small pond. I think everybody has a unique story when it comes to running for elected office, especially at a college. And mine kind of started out different than most. I came here, and I was an athlete in high school, and that's about all that I did. I wasn't involved in extracurriculars, and that was a big part of my life that I was missing. And I got here, and I knew that I wasn't going to be an athlete, and that I needed to do something else. So for me, that materialized as running for a Senate position with the school, just kind of get my feet wet, see if I liked it. And I didn't take it seriously at first. It was kind of just something put on the resume and have fun doing, have a little bit of control over what happens. But getting into it and actually seeing how everything worked and seeing that you could actually make an impact on the people's lives here and kind of guide the vision of the school. One of the big initiatives we've been focusing on is school pride here. For a while, there hasn't been the excitement about Washington College athletics, the community, local Chestertown. All that just wasn't there for us. We don't see it. You walk around and you see people wearing clothes from big universities and not Washington College, which we really wanted to put inside people. And so we've taken a lot of efforts on that. We had our first homecoming this past fall, in about 8 years, which was huge for us. It was kind of a big event for everybody to get back in and get pumped up about the year ahead, get excited about athletics. To follow that up, we're doing a lot of things to kind of boost retention for the school, give kids a reason to stay here and love this school, which translates later down the line to alumni participation in philanthropy, donating back to the school, which again will lead to a bigger endowment 20, 30 years down the road. So it kind of affects what we do long term, not just what you're doing here right now. I've only been here 2.5 years. I'm a junior right now, so in my time at Washington College, I have noticed that students don't really go downtown that much, and it's in large part due because we have a very close-knit campus right here on campus. So kids are more afraid to venture downtown for that reason. I think one of the other big things is that there's not a whole lot that interests students in the downtown area, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because there is a lot of culture down there. There's a lot of art that is very important to Washington College. The waterfront is huge. We love the environment. A lot of kids come to Washington College specifically because of that reason, specifically because of Chestertown. We don't go downtown for many reasons, the largest being that some of the shops that you see downtown, like frame shops, you have museum galleries, little cafes. These things do interest us from time to time, but a lot of the things that you miss is that, that's not what's going to bring us down to spend our money, to spend that disposable income.
So when you go to a buddy, I don't know, you visit buddies at other schools.
Oh, yeah.
And you have that kind of memory of, boy, if Chestertown could just have this one thing in downtown, all these, commerce would grow. Is there one missing thing, or is there a bunch of things that would just the kids can't?
I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's a combination of a lot of things that will draw students downtown. And like I said before, a lot of people come here for that small town feel. We didn't go to somewhere like New York City. We came to Chestertown because we want something specific. We want that small community feeling. So we don't want to go to, say, a major restaurant. We don't want to go to a chain restaurant. That's not what we want. We want something like, like Sam's. It's something great. It's quaint. It's unique. And those are the types of shops and restaurants that we want. And I don't think there are enough of those. There are a few, and I'm sure that they do fairly well, but given a few more, you might be able to draw more business.
Is there a Washington College venue? Is there a bar? Is there a
There's a few. I mean, there's a few bars that people frequent, but I'm told all the time that there's not enough. So, and I think another interesting fact is that there's a little over 5,000 people in the population of Chestertown, and Washington College students themselves are about 1,400, a little less than 1,400. Add that to the 5,000, we make out roughly 20% of the population of the town. So that's a big market that I think is not being tapped completely. And there are a few things that could be done to draw students downtown. I think one of the factors is that it's a communication thing, but I wouldn't chalk it up to that's the 100% that's the issue, you know. I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, communication being one small piece. Again, variety downtown, it's there, it is there, and the culture is great. There's a few things that could possibly be there that might attract students downtown. And I think once you get them there, that initial step, and they see that that it's brilliant, that it's vibrant, then they'll stay. And I think figuring out how to get students downtown is the biggest issue. And I think with the development of the new waterfront for the college, that's going to be something that could potentially transform the relationship between the college and community for the better. I think when you see that happen, a lot of students will need to go downtown to get to the waterfront for classes, for practice, whatever it may be. And when they're down there, sure, they're going to wander into a store, they're going to wander into a restaurant and spend some of their money. I personally would like to see some students living downtown. I think that would create another community from our school that will be down there, and then that will bring their friends and whoever they're networking with down there as well. And if you have students that are there, that's going to become their lives. They're going to need to shop down there, they're going to need to eat down there, and that'll really kind of transform it. You know, on a day-to-day basis, they'll be communicating with members of the community. So you're going to create relationships there that will last. And
okay, but a lot of people are going to say, I love college kids, but I don't want them living next to me.
Right.
What do you say to people like that?
You know, I'm asked that a lot, and
What do you ask?
I'm asked. College kids, a lot of people have this perception in their minds that college students, all they ever do is party, and they get wild on the weekends, and that's all they ever see. They only see it on the surface for what they think it is. But I think what's missed a lot of the times is a lot of the things that college students do that are beneficial to the community. I mean, they do a lot in terms of community service locally, nationally and internationally. I mean, they represent our school in some of the major competitions. We have some of the best clubs in the world, really. And I think people miss that sometimes, and they don't really understand what we do actually offer, which I think needs to be communicated a little more effectively.